All right, so welcome to the 2016 Event Chairs meeting online. It's not going to take the full hour that I've allotted, but I'm just blocking off this time. And thank you for being an event consultant this year. We really couldn't do without you. So we're going to go ahead and just dive in and then open it up at the end for questions. So what we're going to review today is just the 2016 numbers, look at major changes to this conference, look at the event schedules, look at what happens the day of your competitive event, take a quick look at the event box and flash drive, and then again open it up for questions at the end. So just some important dates to remember: that March 5th, all of the Thursday event participants will be notified via email, and the competitive event schedules are released. So you can see event times for students competing for whoever you, in your chapter, you've registered to compete. March 18th, payment for both affiliation and registration is due for the state conference. If you are having an issue, because I do realize that some school districts take longer than others to process checks, please let me know ASAP when you put in that request, because I don't want to charge any late fee if you've done what you need to and it's just the district holding up. So email, phone call, just let me know. I want to make sure that I'm meeting the needs of our chapters, but again, you have to be communicative with me. Then April 2nd, which is that Saturday of state conference, the National Leadership Meeting will happen twice because we have 2 sessions, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. And the National Leadership Conference page for Colorado will open up, and I'll talk about that here in a little bit because you'll probably get some questions from advisors, or you probably are wondering yourself. So 2016, we have 708 competitors. That's 210 individuals and 232 teams competing this year. We are down a little bit, but we're about 25% of our schools are on spring break during that time, so we've seen a little bit numbers down, but this is very comparable to where we were before we combined the Food Events Conference and the State Leadership Conference into one. This is about the numbers that we were at. So we need a total of 188 judges, and we currently have 170. The judges we're missing right now are more of our culinary-based judges, the ones who have the food and beverage background. So if you know anybody who has sort of a background in culinary arts, please pass our information on to them, and we'll be happy to have them as judges. So these are your numbers for your specific event. I'm going to take a couple seconds or a couple moments on each slide so you can kind of identify what your event looks like. So just to read it, so if we take advocacy, you have 4 entries in the junior category, 7 entries in the senior category, and 1 entry in the occupational category. This is just kind of my math in the sets column, but your total sets of judges are over here on this side right here. You can see that advocacy has 1 set of judges, while career investigation has 6, excuse me. Each set of judges is made up of 3 individuals. This year we're trying something a little different. We're going towards the national philosophy, where we'll have 2 adults and 1 student, which is currently enrolled in the program as a judge. So you'll have some student judges this year. We're trying to mirror the philosophy of nationals to try to make it more of the experience and the idea behind STAR events. Of your entries, these are entries in the event. So if advocacy is a team event, so that's 4 teams, 7 teams, 1 team, while baking and pastry is an individual event, so there's 9 individuals. So just to kind of give you a little bit of information on that. So let me go to the next slide, and you can see the remaining events. Just to point out, illustrated talk occupational and life event planning occupational sets of judges will be the same, just because there's a lower number of participants, and to kind of help not have to find more judges, we're just going to share those judges, and those 3 judges have already been notified and are perfectly okay with it. So if I remember the scheduling correctly, Illustrated Talk for occupational will go in the morning, they'll have a short break, then they'll do the life event planning, and then they'll be done for lunch, and those ones will be out before lunch. So they get 2 events, but they are done before a lot of our other events. I'll give you another couple seconds to look at these. So because some of our events are so large, we have to have multiple sections of judges, and it's mainly our senior category, which is a vast majority of our membership. So these events will have runoffs. And how runoffs work is there'll be 2 or 3 sections of judges judging that category of that event. They'll take the top 2 gold medal winners from that category, and then they will then present again to either a new set of judges or a mixture of judges, 1 from each section, or a mixture of somebody who's been on the panel in the morning or before. So the events that will be having runoffs this year are career investigation, the senior category, the chapter service project display senior category, focus on children senior category, illustrated talk, life event planning, and recycle and redesign. All of these are the senior category, and they'll have runoffs. For those event consultants that have runoffs, I will have the schedule already out for you. You just have to fill in names, and I'll have that piece of paper so that we know who's your first place, second place, third place, all the way down to whatever place it is, so that we give the right student or team the right plaque. So major changes to the 2016 competitive event is it's a little different is because we're at the Renaissance and there's not a lot of space, and it mainly comes down to is we are being charged a chair rental, so because they didn't have enough chairs, so we were paying about $3 or $4 per chair. So to kind of take away some of that budget constraint that we have, we're going to have no orientations on site. However, there is an orientation video that has been created, sent out. It was in the call to conference. It's been on social media. I'm going to send it out again here with the state conference email for those of you who are registered. They have to watch it. There's some general competitive event information, and then at the end of it, it goes event by event for more information, specific questions that I've heard over the years. Now, there is also an online Google form where you just fill out. It can be filled out per individual or 1 per team, and it's just how they get those orientation attendance points. I will close that form on March 25th, and then you as an event consultant will get a list of your students in your event that attended orientation via the form, so that way you can award the points accordingly. In place of event orientations, we're going to have event informational sessions. These are not required, and it's going to be in the Vail room, and each section of events, so our foundational events will go at one time, and then you have about 45 minutes. Then our leadership events will go, have 45 minutes. Then our career preparation events will go and have 45 minutes. And then our state events will go and have 45 minutes. And in this informational session there'll be 2 chairs, and there'll be an easel with your event sign name on it. You just sit there. If any kids who are in your event come up and ask you specific questions, they ask you specific questions. But if it's going to be, or given a competitive advantage, you can't answer that question. But if it's just general questions like, when is my skill check sheet due? Well, it's due when you check into your event, whatever time it is. What are my display dimensions? Whatever the display dimensions are. So it's just some informational sessions, because most of the questions that we get at event orientation are either in the rules, just clarifying it, or helping the students to calm down because they're extremely nervous for their event. There are 2 closing sessions that will be assigned by district this year. Because the Renaissance doesn't have enough room for all of our participants and guests that would like to attend the closing session. We were over by about 100 or 150 last year and could have been shut down by the fire marshal, but they were lucky enough to overlook it. We're doing 2 different sessions. So our A session will go from 8 to 10. The first and second place in every event will be announced, but only those districts assigned to that session will be announced. Then While that's happening, those who are in session B, you can have a little bit of a breakfast time, and then you can start to line up at 9:45. There's also luggage storage because the hotel will be asking all of those advisors in session B to check out first. If you're in the first session, you don't have to check out until afterwards. There'll be luggage storage so that you can store your luggage on site. Then we will have about 15 to 30 minutes in between the sessions to reset and bring everybody in. We're still working on the logistics of this, and then we'll run again from 10:30 to 12:30. If your students do qualify for nationals, or if you're interested into attending the national conference, the national meeting will be ran twice, once after each session. And this means different this year, just to give you a heads up, is we're going through a travel agent this year for all of nationals. That means all the flights have already been booked and all ready to go. So everything 100% goes to the travel agent. It's very reasonable. It's about what it's been on par, but actually a little bit less this year than when we've been on the East Coast. And you don't have to worry about anything, and it's one payment to one entity, and it disperses it to National FCCLA, to me, to the airlines, to wherever it needs to go. This does put a little bit of restrictions on it because you can only go with the flights and options that we've provided, but they've been approved by the Executive Council. Water bottle and pencil for each judge this year. We did little bags last year, but we're doing a nice FCCLA water bottle and a pencil for each of the judges. All events except for applied math for culinary management, culinary arts, baking and pastry, front of the house, and fashion stylist will be at the Renaissance. Applied math will be at the Doubletree, culinary arts will be at the Colorado Culinary Academy, baking and pastry in front of the house will be at Johnson & Wales, and fashion stylist will be at a department store close to the hotel. There will be shuttles provided for these students, but only for these students and event personnel. Advisors are not to go with them onto those properties just because our insurance does not cover it. So most of you are running an event, so your students will get there. The schedule will be given to you, the advisor, upon registration as soon as the times are set. So this is the orientation form of what it looks like if they have to, for Colorado, for them to attend. List all group members, chapter names, choose their event, and ask them the question to, did you watch the video, and anything else. So all of our Thursday events. This year we're going to have Thursday events. Again, it's just because of logistics and space and the sheer number of events that we offer to our students. So Thursday events are Career Investigation Senior, Early Childhood Education, Environmental Ambassador, Fashion Sketch, Gourmet Savory, Gourmet Sweet, International Experience, and Leadership. All of these event consultants shouldn't be new because I emailed you about last week. But these are for your events, unless it has a specific category listed, it's the entire event. When I scheduled these events, if you were coming from greater distance, I tried to put you in the afternoon. There's no group orientation for this because all of our events don't have orientations, so you should be able to get those times as soon as you log back into the registration website. So how Thursday events look: event lead consultants for those Thursday events only are at 11 a.m. There'll be a judge's orientation lunch at 11:30, and then the competitions from 12:30 to 5, because we got a lot of feedback in the past couple of years where we moved events to the evening. That is really hard for advisors to manage their kids and make sure that they've eaten, make sure their other kids have eaten. So we moved it back to the afternoon and seeing how this works this year. So 2 years ago, National FCCLA put in an online proof of submission form for STAR events. This is a way for them to collect data, and it's also on most of the point summary forms. Every STAR event this year, including parliamentary procedure and culinary arts, must complete this online proof of submission form. And they are required to provide you with the documentation. I do not provide a list or anything. This is kind of the documentation. Once the survey's over, it has this page for them to print out for the advisor to sign in the name of their event. So this is just something we've seen in the past, but it's new for parliamentary procedure and culinary arts this year. Just a little bit about the data that they collect. This is used to kind of help with funding. All of this data was shared with the governor as well as all the state and local senators and House of Representatives. And we fielded a lot of calls back when it was released in August to what does this information mean, what are our chapters doing, and then those of you who attended the national conference this summer, you also got a nice letter from the interim commissioner of education for Colorado congratulating your students on their placement and all the information. So we're trying to get more and more information about FCCLA, and this is just helping us get the data behind it of what our students are doing. So event schedules, again, are now available on the registration website. You log back in, and there is a new button that says click or view conference schedules, just to kind of give you a quick visual tour. Once you log back in, you'll see right here there's circled where it is view conference schedule. You click on that, and you can pull the report 2 different ways this year. You can do it by event, or you can do it by participant. I'm just going to show you the by participant event. It gives you the name where this red bar is right here, protecting their privacy. It gives you the event name. It gives you the date. It gives you what section they are, then their time that they are either present or hold. Some of our events require that they come in a little bit earlier, stay, and then compete in a little bit. But most of our events, the hold time and prep time are the exact same time. It also gives you an end time as well. And so you can print this. It gives you a nice little print report. It doesn't look like it. You can just print. And it gives you out the report, the event. You can divide it by event. It's a nice way for you to see your students beforehand, what time they're going. Again, I do give a little bit of caution that this is subject to change, because all the way up until competition time, we have students dropping. Hopefully we don't have any students adding because they've missed registered events. So this is subject to change, but most likely it'll at least be around that time so you can help plan for your students. So how the event process works for all of our events except for our Thursday events, those work a little bit differently, which we covered earlier, but all of our other events will have a chair meeting at 12:30 on that Thursday. This is last minute information for you to pick up your box and your flash drive and just really get some last minute instructions. Then you'll attend your information session on that Thursday afternoon. Times will be listed in the program. Then for our Friday events, judges will start arriving around 7:45, so I'm asking you to be in your rooms or right outside of your rooms at 7:45. There'll be tables up front with interns, as well as the National Director of Competitive Events will be at our conference this year, so she'll be helping to move traffic and judges to where they need to be. And so give a quick orientation, and I'll talk about that orientation here in a second. Then your competition will run from 8:30 till most of our competitions are done by 4, but our large events, especially ones with runoffs, may run all the way up until 6 p.m. Then as soon as you are done with your event, we're asking for you to come to the headquarters room, and you are going to turn in all of your box and all of your verification and all of your things. You are not allowed to leave that headquarters room until we've printed out your report, imported your scores, and printed out your score report, so that way you can verify it, because we only had about 10 event consultants last year come back and verify their scores. And I try to go through all the scores and find general mistakes, like if there's a no score for Evaluator 3 or Evaluator 3 score, it looks really weird, but if the scores are a 20, 25, and a 30, it's not going to ring any bells with me, but you may have known that, oh, that's the wrong kid, they should have gotten 80, 80, and 90. So that was some of the issues last year, is some of those small things weren't caught or were they verified. And so we're trying to make sure that the right students get the right medal and get the right placement to make sure that it is successful this year, because it could be chaotic with 2 different sessions, because they don't print the reports separately, so our interns will be blacking out things so that they're not reading the wrong names. So it's important that when you realize that when you come to score verification, you will not be allowed to leave until you verified your scores are correct and the report is 100% ready to go. So just some more on the day of process. We have 5 competitive event interns this year. All of them are family consumer science education majors that are either student teaching now or will be student teaching in the fall. They'll be assigned an event, and they're kind of your go-to. Oh, I've ran out of pencils, or I need another rubric, or I have no idea. Those will be your first line of defense because they will hopefully know where things are. When you arrive, make sure your room is set up. I'm going to ask that if you arrive, you can arrive a little bit early and make sure your room's set up appropriately. I will have room diagrams in your box so you kind of know what they're supposed to be looking like. Last year we didn't start right on time because the hotel didn't set it up correctly, and I was working with them to set it up right then and there. Check-in students once they start coming in. I will print off sign-in sheets for you so that you can start knowing who signed in and putting cell phone numbers down, so that way in case you're running early or behind and they check in, you can manage the event a little bit better. You'll review judges' scores and enter them into your spreadsheet, and I'll show you that here in a second. Again, please make sure that they are within 10 points. That's come out in lots of different things. We just want to make sure they're a true representation. And this year, the Executive Council kind of asked that you not influence judges, but really, really encourage them to give gold medals if it's appropriate, because there's no reason that we shouldn't be sending a student on to a national conference, because we want to give more students the opportunity to attend and see what it's about. But again, some students, their work does not warrant a gold medal. Write thank you notes to your judges. Thank you for being a judge, and then you'll check out in Cherry Creek. So this is what the event box looks like. I use advocacy because it's right there and it's first. So in your first folder is going to be your sign-in sheets, your schedules, and any event-specific information. This event has a case study and case study form. If your event does not have any specific information, it won't be there. Then you'll find your rubrics, which will be in your junior, senior, and occupational. Again, if your event does not have a junior category, you won't have it, so you don't have to freak out about that. It's going to be tailor-made to your event. The third hanging folder will be your flash drive. I'm asking that one of the event consultants, most of our events have two, bring a laptop. Chromebooks have not worked in the past. Apple does work, but we must make sure we save it back into Excel and not numbers. So try to bring an actual laptop. And then the last folder is your volunteer handbooks. Instead of those folders that we used to hand out to every single one of our judges, we just do principal handbooks that they can keep, or you can collect again, but it's just something that you don't have to collect, trying to help make your day easier. And then back here, this is just a picture from last year, will be your water bottles, pencils, calculators. If you have a display event, you'll also have some tape measures in there, as well as some stopwatches just to kind of help with the overall management of the project. So looking at the event flash drive, they look a little bit different this year. It'll be in your box, and here is the event leads notebook. Last year we got rid of them because there was a lot of printing and many people didn't use them, but all the information you would need that was in that book would be in this event leads notebook folder. It's going to have your consultant responsibilities. It's got a day of glance, event management procedures, as well as an orientation session, script and outline for you to go over with your evaluators. Kind of gives you a step-by-step what you need to talk to them about. This event handbook has also been shared with you starting back in January via Google Drive. So if you haven't found that, please let me know and I'll send it again, or we can work with you on different emails. But it's all been shared with you so that you can see it ahead of time, so that you don't have to try to worry about it with the flash drive. There's also on the flash drive is other things that may help you be successful. The Colorado Competitive Event Policy, your actual event guidelines, again this is advocacy, a glossary of competitive event terms, so in case you need to know what a visual is or what dimensions mean, whatever it is right here. Then a Q&A guide for all of the STAR events. This will be the most up-to-date one. How you read this is it's general information and then goes event specific. The spreadsheets will look a little bit different this year. I usually spent about 3 or 4 days creating spreadsheets because it was an easier way. Because the national registration system is tied with our registration or affiliation is now tied with our registration system. They're making more and more improvements, and the site will actually spit out Excel spreadsheets. But it spits them out in how I have the event set up. So each of the category will have its own spreadsheet, but if you have multiple sections, let's say advocacy had 2 senior sections, it would say advocacy senior station 1 and then station 2. So I know they're not all in the same spreadsheet, but it's going to look a little bit different, but it's supposed to help everybody be successful. So this is what the event spreadsheet will look like. It gives you the names, participant IDs. You wouldn't be able to touch these. You wouldn't be able to delete them. It's going to say it's read only. You can change the number of evaluators because sometimes you have 2, sometimes you have 3. So make sure this is correct because it will automatically calculate these scores. So let's say we got an 80, 80, an 80, and a 10. New this year, it puts all of it, does the information for you, and it tells you what medal over here as well. So you can kind of pull all of that information. Make sure you do hit the save button either up here or go to here and save. Just make sure you constantly save because I don't want you to be frustrated of not saving and have to re-put in all of the scores. I'm not going to save because I don't want to save those right now because I want to make sure we get the accurate scores for those students. So that is the event flash drive. Make sure that you eject your flash drive appropriately. Last year, some people were just pulling it out, and it kind of messed up with some of the files. It can potentially, so just make sure you eject it properly and bring it to us. That's the event flash drive. Event checkout, your spreadsheet will be printed. Scores will be imported to the scoring system. We'll have stickers that you paperclip to the rubrics. Our interns will drop them into the bags, or state officers because they need things to do that day. But we won't drop them into the bags until your scores have been verified because last year, a couple of our events, we had to fish out of all of the bags and re-enter scores just because they were wrong. So I'm going to now open it up to questions and comments. Give me a second to unmute everybody. I'm sorry if there's feedback, but here we go. I would recommend that so that way So are there any questions?
Hey, Rob.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hey, I was just going to use the guidebook again this year for students.
The question was, are we using guidebook this year? No, we're not. We may in future years. It's just this hotel's internet and downloading wasn't the best, so we're having some issues with that. We'll have printed programs this year.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Are there any other questions?
Rob, it's Naomi. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Are we moving the hotel moving chairs this time?
So I think the question was, give me a second, will you be allowed to move hotel chairs? Is that correct?
That is correct.
So, yes, the Renaissance this year is under complete new management, under new philosophy, and they're allowing chairs to be moved. It's actually a pleasant experience to work with them as opposed to last year because the management actually approached me with some issues and they already had solutions to it. So they want to make sure that they rock this conference. So they're not going to be painting elevators again. They're going to try to open up the stairs at a reasonable time, make sure that judges don't pay for their parking this year, make sure that foods get served hot. They're also providing special buffet prices on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So it will be a different experience this year. Any other questions? have any questions, feel free to email me. I'll be happy to answer that question if it warrants that it needs to go out to everybody. I will write that down and share that with everybody at that event chairs meeting. Again, thank you for being a event chair this year. I really couldn't do this without you because we couldn't run all of our 41 different events by ourselves, and it really takes you all to do it. So thanks for joining us today. I will send this out to everybody, even if you were here, so you can rewatch it if you have some downtime or if you really want a question answered. Otherwise, have a great evening, and we will see you in 28 days.
Hey, Rob.
Yes.
Rob.
Yes.
I couldn't hear whether there were still questions being asked. Are you shutting it off because it's so hard to hear all the questions?
Yeah, but most people didn't have questions. I couldn't hear, but if you have a specific question, I can answer that right now.
Oh, I have several questions because I haven't done this before. So one of the questions was, I might have a culinary person for you, but I wonder when I contact him, where and when do I tell him that he needs to be somewhere if he's available?
It depends on the event, but most of the events that we have will be at Johnston Wales from about 7 in the morning to around noonish, or the Colorado Culinary Academy, which is around the same time. So that's just on that Friday is where we need most of the judges. All of our Thursday judges are, yeah.
At Johnston and Wales, okay.
Or Colorado Culinary. It just depends on what event they would like to do.
But it'll be Friday from 7 a.m. to noon. Okay, I'll let him know that. And then the Google form for the orientation, when I'm sitting there making sure they have that turned in for their point sheet, will that be available somewhere specific?
Yeah, I will print that out for all the event chairs for your event and shows you what kids have attended the video for you, for your event.
Okay, good. And then the judges' orientation, do I do the orientation with them based on what's on the stick?
Yes.
Okay.
Pretty much, it's just thank you for being a judge. Here's how the day is going to work. Lunch will be located here. Here's your information. Review your rubric. What questions can I offer to you, or can I answer for you? Here's how the event looks, because sometimes those event specifications are hard to read if you're not in education, or even if you are in education, they're still hard to read.
Okay, so then I see event lead orientation. Mine's Thursday at 11:30, but then there's an event chairs meeting at 12:30, and the judges are in between. Is that lead orientation and chairs meeting the same people? Does that mean?
If you're a Thursday event, yours is at 11, so you don't have to attend that 12:30 one.
Okay, gotcha. All right, and then because it said Thursday on the screen.
Because it is at Thursday for people who are doing Friday.
Oh, for the Friday people? Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. And I think that's all my questions. Yes, that's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. Everybody else, I'm going to try one more time, unmuting. Hopefully we don't get... So, all right. So everybody have a great day.
I don't know if you can hear me. I sent you 2 questions on the meeting.
Okay.
See them?
Yeah, so who gets the buffet for conference? Students get this mute. All right, so buffet prices before conference, tell students. As soon as the hotel tells me them, I'll send them out. But last year I didn't get them until that Thursday morning. But as soon as I get them, I'll send them out. And then, yes, it doesn't matter if you're a student or an adult judging, you get a meal out of it. And so it just depends on when they're judging is when their meals will happen. So if you're Thursday, it's going to be at that orientation. If it's going to be Friday, it'll be whenever it's scheduled per their event. I think I found the noise. Exciting. All right, is there any other questions?
just one more. When will we find out if our students are a judge?
They've already been emailed. So
okay.
They've already been.
My kids don't check their emails, so we'll make sure.
So they check their email. That's the only way we can communicate with them. So there's only been about 10 students assigned to judge right now. So.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Thanks.
I have a quick question on the event schedules. You said they're available on the conference website, but where? Because I'm looking at.
So if you go back to that registration website where you registered for state conference.
Right.
So here's that main page. It's going to be View Conference Schedule. If it's not there, I can work on your specific one because they updated the system, so it may take a minute for it to happen because I opened them up this morning. So, but it'll be there and you can see your students. So give it about 20 minutes and then refresh your page and then you should be able to see them.
Excellent. And
okay.
Rob, this is the first time I'm doing it also, and I hope I'm paired with somebody who knows what they're doing. Is that going to be sent to us, who our partners are?
Yes, if you would like to. It's already your knife skills, so Yo has run that event for several years, so he'll be perfectly fine to help you with that. So.
Oh, I'm Knife Skills. I thought I was Gourmet Suite. Okay.
Oh, you may be Gourmet Suite. Let me check. I thought you were Knife Skills, but I'll email
any of it is good. Any of it's good.
So I'll email you specifically.
Thank you so much.
All right. Any other questions? Okay. Hopefully this is the last one. I don't keep getting caught with questions because I want to honor your all's time. So, all right. Have a great day, and we'll see you at conference.
Thanks for doing this. Bye.
Bye. Recording.